And we're live! Yay!
Yay! Okay, my name is Sam.
And my name is Mason. And every good show starts with
Right company. It'll never get better. It'll never get better.
It'll never be good. We'll always mess it up. Oh well. So, today is a day that we have been talking about, I think, since day one that we started doing this. It is the day we talk about MyEngineer! I'm so happy.
I feel like a person who just got asked out for a date.
Oh, that's a good one. You just got confessed to.
You know that feeling you get? When oh my gosh, this is the start of something wonderful. That kind of butterfliesy, fleshy feeling, that's what I feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you couldn't tell, we both really, really liked this show.
Really like this show.
Yeah. I would say it's probably my favorite Thai boys love, period. Like, it just finished airing. I might have to sit on it, but like, it's even if it's not number one, it is like top 2 to 3 for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Like, if I had to say my favorite Thai boys love, not all over boys love, my favorite Thai boys love probably is Sodus.
Oh, you're right. Sodus and that Our Sky episode of Sodus.
Yes. So Sodus would probably be my top.
Ooh.
But that goes to show that this show is definitely on the right track because the director of this show is the director of the first season of Sodus.
I forgot about that. Yes.
Yes. And he'll be directing season 2, so.
Something is in the water with this man because he gets it.
Yes, he does. His first name is Lit.
Uh-huh.
L-I-T. I feel like that needs to be the tagline for any show he directs. Like, when I'm directing, you know it's lit.
Yeah. And it's making him like, ding!
So, the show we're talking about, obviously, is MyEngineer. You can tell from the title. We've talked about it incessantly. It's in every single episode. And part of it is because we have been reviewing so many bad shows lately. You know, some of them intentional, some of them not intentional, some of them just, it didn't turn out the way we expected. But throughout this entire process of us starting this vlog series, MyEngineer has just been in the background continuing to be boys love excellence. And so it's really nice to finally have an episode where there's no qualifiers, where there's no trying to explain why it could be better or anything like that. It's just us purely talking about something that we love. And also lets everybody watching know we're not a bunch of haters. We like boys love, but we have a standard. And this right here might just be the next gold standard in boys love.
Definitely. I think this is the one. I really do. I think this is going to be the sleeper hit. I think it's going to hopefully continue to pick up more steam, get more views, especially real talk. Now that they've kissed, we can get those images circulating. People can be like, oh, hey, what's this? What's the tea? And then we'll be like, well, here you go. Episode 1, got the links ready.
Yeah. So let's start the way we always do. We're going to talk about plot. Now, I'm just going to let you guys know, we tried to start filming this earlier, but I got a work call which interrupted things. So I'm going to try to pick back up from where we were before. But plot-wise, this is not a super plotty show. This really is more like what Mason was saying when we were talking about it offline. It's a character study or a character-driven show. Most of the action really has to do with the character interactions, but the story starts as such. Boon and Dune are our main couple, the start of all of the action, and they meet quite by accident. Boon is walking through the campus, and he sees someone sleeping on a bench, and there's like a Komodo dragon a few feet away from this person. So he leans over to the person to try to wake them up because there's a dragon on the loose. And the person, not knowing who this is, coming out of a dead sleep, they punch Boon. And then Boon has to explain, like, I wasn't trying to molest you. I'm trying to let you know about this dragon. And so Doon is like, how can I make it up to you? And Boone's like, you need to bring me flowers every day for 30 days. And by them coming into contact with each other and having this meeting, that's how we get introduced to the two different friend groups. There's the medical friend group, and then there's the engineer friend group. And one of our couples is another cross of the friend group. So Boone and Doon. Boone is an engineer. Doon is a medical student. And then Ram, who is a medical student, ends up in a pairing with King, who is an engineering student. And then we have two engineering students that are our third couple. They're Meek and Boss. And then we have our final couple, which is Thada and Frong. Thada is a medical intern. He's no longer a student. And then Frong is a student of the School of Management, which we never see School of Management hardly. I think the only one we've ever seen with School of Management is maybe Love by Chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a nice mix of different colleges. You know, medicine we don't really see that much of, management we don't really see that much of. And it's funny because when I first heard about this show, it was called MyEngineer. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be another one of those cliche engineering stories.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not that. There's no hazing. It's none of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But basically the plot is with Ram King, their main conflict is Ram is very quiet, King is a lot more verbal, and it's the course of them getting to know each other and finding a communication route. Meek and Boss, they met each other as freshmen coming into the engineering school, and their relationship is about a one-sided love that slowly turns into a mutual love. And then Thada Frang is two people who started with misunderstandings about each other, kind of not knowing if they were even going to be friendly, and then all of a sudden coming to a deeper understanding of one another through mutual loss.
Mm-hmm.
So that is how all of our kind of plot lines run. But the plot's not important. The plot is not important. The plot really is secondary to these characters. Now,
Right.
Mason, if you could please indulge, you were talking earlier before we had to scrap it about the fact that this is one of those shows that does something extremely rare where you care about all the couples.
Oh, yeah. So I think one of the things that sets the show apart is each character for each couple has a really distinct personality that's consistent throughout the show. Some of them change a little bit, some of them don't, for good or for bad. We'll kind of get into that. But, you know, you can really describe and like pinpoint each character's personality. And I feel like sometimes in shows, like, you'll be watching a show and it's like, what's the personality of Tim? And it's like, Tim's nice, I guess. Like, if my only explanation of you is that you're nice, that's not a good character description. You need to give me something. Like, Bone is very, like, he is like, if he went to college in America, he would be in a frat. He'd be, you know, cracking a beer can on his head. He's very stubborn and he can get very jealous. And his counterpoint, Doan, is kind of the opposite of that in a lot of ways. He's more sheltered. He's very gullible, kind of got like an innocent vibe to him. And it's very interesting to see how these two people who don't seemingly have a lot in common or any chemistry have brilliant chemistry, and how really the thing that like is their Achilles heel is just like their different personalities in some ways, and therefore they have communication problems, which is probably the main, I guess, takeaway from the show for me, is that each couple, like throughout all four, communication is like the main theme of like you have to have good communication with your partner people.
Yes.
Like Bone and Doan, like Bone just keeps getting jealous of Doan, and then at the end we have Doan getting jealous of Bone, you know? So we get the reverse of that. Like, anytime Doan would like talk to another male, you could just like Bone, you could see it would just be red. It was like that scene in Kill Bill whenever she's about to kill someone and you hear the sirens. He was like, oh, this bitch, who do I have to beat up? Who is talking to my man? And Doan's like, you need to chill. And then there's a time when Doan gets jealous because someone is hitting on his man. And he's like, no, 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 no. No, no, no. Yeah. Whereas Ram and King, Ram had maybe like 3 lines in the first few episodes. And King just is a bit more chatty and outgoing. And it's about how with them, they had to learn to like find an in-between in terms of communication. So like King would say something and Ram would text. That was like his way of finally starting to open up, is he would text his responses to King as they went along. And it's about how Ram learns to open up and communicate with King, and King learns to accept that just talking is not always the answer. And sometimes just being there is the answer. And being there in spirit, in heart, in person is the best way to be. Mech and Boss, like their whole thing is, Mech is like, I love Boss. You know, they have this sort of very cute, like, hubby-wifey relationship where they're jokingly husband and wife, and they're like best friends. And Mech is secretly, truly in love with Boss, but Boss is like, la-di-da-di-da, blah, blah, blah. The sky is pink. Like, he just is kind of kooky. Honestly, he lives in his own, he is super in his own fantasy, his French vanilla fantasy, as Drag Race fans call it. And he's like, oh, Meg, help me court this girl, teach me guitar so I can court this girl, blah, blah, blah. And really, Boss, this whole time, liked Meg back. And it's like, if one of you had just communicated and said something, gave a hint, y'all could have been dating for like years at this point, you know?
Yeah.
Because they had been into each other both for quite some time. And so, like, had you just talked to each other? And when it comes to Frong and Thara, what's really cool about them is, like, they just kept, like, lightly butting heads. And then once they finally started actually talking, they were like, he's kind of cool. And, like, they bonded over a fairly unfortunate thing. There was a cancer scare with Frong's mom, and Thara, who is a med student, was like, oh, my father passed away of cancer. So they kind of had like a heart-to-heart. Again, communication. It brings people together.
Yes. So the whole series really is about communication, like Mason is saying. It's very character-driven, and there's not a lot of drama in the traditional sense of, you know, slamming of doors, running away, crying, that kind of thing. But there is some drama in terms of, you know, the kind of anxiety and insecurity that you have regarding personal relationships. So, for instance, some of the drama that happens with Rom, which to me is probably the most dramatic part of the series, is his father is cheating on his mother with Rom's best friend.
Gag.
Yeah, which, you know, you can imagine the levels of betrayal you would feel if you found out that not only your father, who you look up to, is cheating on your mom, and you're being asked by your father not to reveal his cheating, but also your best friend, who has been your friend forever, is the person who is breaking up your family. And this is probably somebody who's been in your home, who knows your mother, who knows your family structure, and they've come in there and they've inserted themselves into this really private, personal relationship. And so that was probably the most high-key dramatic part of the show. Besides the little girl falling in the river. But it also wasn't played up as that being the main thrust of anything in terms of like how the story was going along. It was something that happened, but it more so created a way for Rom to understand that King was a safe space. So let's just we'll dive into the couples one by one, because it's the easiest way to talk about this show, because although they are connected through their friendship groups, their storylines do run very separately throughout.
Yeah, it's a weird show in a lot of ways, because there is an A couple, but there's a C, B, and D couple, and they have almost equal screen time. Even though, real talk, you could have taken any of these couples in terms of like their storyline and the general idea for the characters, the plot, like how they get together, and you could have done an entire show for each one where they were the A couple. And this show is just only A couples, and they all get screen time, and it's fluffy goodness. It's so cute. It makes you
It's
so happy.
wonderful. And we talked about this before about how, a lot of times there'll be an A couple and a B couple for a show.
Hmm.
Very few shows go into C, D, and E.
Hmm.
And inevitably, one couple, either they're the main focus for the first part of the show, and then the B couple is the focus of the second, and you lose the A couple, or, you'll have two even couples like Why Are You? And then all of a sudden it becomes all about the B couple. And that's unfortunate because a lot of the time, as a watcher myself, I'm invested in these storylines and I want to know what's happening. And it is very frustrating when a couple that you started to get to know, you never hear from them again. You never see them again.
Right.
You don't know what's going on. And this show does a really good job of like, we're only starting couples that we can talk to you about. So, like
Yeah.
with Why Are You? We were introduced to Do Blue and it just didn't go anywhere until the end. They're fucking.
Yeah.
And that's hard when you really want to see the progress of a couple. And in this show, they made sure that every single episode, every single couple had some kind of representation, something that moved the story forward for them. But also, they didn't make it to where you felt like that couple was being shoehorned into the action. It felt very natural, the circumstances under which we would see them. It just was very well crafted. It's a sign that this show was written and planned out a lot before they decided to start filming.
Hmm.
Like everything had to have been storyboard ahead of time. Nothing felt like, oh, at the last minute, make sure we insert a scene of these people doing this right here.
Hmm.
And I think that that's what makes this show so special because I just can't think of another show that has done as well in Thai Boys Love of giving you that kind of inclusion of all the couples and almost making it seem like there is no A couple.
Right. Like
Yeah.
Boat and Doing are like the inciting incident, but I would say they don't have any more screen time than Ram and King, you know?
Hmm. Yeah. So, like I was saying, we're going to talk each couple because each couple has a lot that can be discussed. I mean, there's definitely more for some than others. But let's just start with Boon and Doon because I feel like Ram King is the one that we really want to talk the most about. But but Boon and Doon, I think is really a great one to talk about first because they're the couple that honestly I was waiting to see kiss the most
Yeah.
because they were the couple that started officially dating first out of all of the couples.
Right. And they're the ones that get the ball rolling in the series too.
Yes, the first romantic ties we ever see are between these two. And it starts out very early on. Like at the end of episode 1, Boone realizes I like teasing this guy, but I like teasing him because I'm attracted to him and I love the way his face looks.
Hmm.
And so when he first starts doing the whole bring flowers every day, for Doon is like, this is kind of annoying, but I'm gonna do it because I made a promise, but like, yeah, you're kind of annoying.
Hmm.
But over the course of constantly seeing Boone and Boone being very aggressively flirty with him without putting hands on anybody unasked
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
putting anybody in any very uncomfortable situations. He's
Right.
very aggressively flirty. And Dylan, who's never had a relationship, man or woman, nobody, he kind of is like, I don't even know if I can take this seriously. Like, I don't know if you're actually legitimately asking me out or if you're trying to tease me because I've just never been in this position before.
Hmm.
So, one of the things that's really fun about watching their couple is, your first relationship on the part of Dun, but then Bun, who is a playboy, who's dated a ton of people before, and apparently maybe has never dated a man before. All of a sudden, he is trying to establish monogamy,
Hmm.
just one person and giving everything to that person.
Hmm.
And a lot of their conflict comes because he's never wanted to be committed to one person, because he's never felt the need to only be with one person. He struggles with possessiveness and jealousy extremely because now that he has this feeling of, I want to be a one guy man,
Hmm.
I don't want anyone to touch you, anyone to look at you. I don't want you to be around anybody. I just want to completely encompass you, even to the point where, they've been dating maybe a month and he's like, you need to move in with me.
Hmm.
Whereas Dylan, he's like, I've never had a boyfriend. I don't know how this dating thing goes. So he's having to deal with, I'm shy about intimacy. I'm shy about how people will assume my role is in our relationship, because I've never been with anybody and now people are assuming I'm this way. Well, what if I want to be something else? I've never been in a relationship more before. I want to try everything,
Mhm.
you know, and then also not knowing how to tell somebody I need to be free. Like, I know you're possessive and I know it comes from a good place in your heart, but at the same time, you need to respect me and the fact that I have a life. And if you trust me and you love me, then you won't smother me.
Right, right.
Because I've never been in a relationship and it feels suffocating right now.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, I mean, they're beautiful to watch. And one of the great things about this show, in my opinion, is so many times when Mason and I are talking about shows, watching shows, reviewing shows in Thailand, there's always like something super problematic that never gets addressed or something that's just taken as being real. Boone and Dune have the conversation about topping and bottoming.
Yes. Oh my God. I loved that episode.
Please talk about it.
So one of the basically part like Bone and Duan's like whole thing that episode is Bone wants to be more intimate and Duan's like, I don't know. And then his friends, Duan's friends are like, oh, like you're the bottom, right? Like you got kind of this floppy wrist thing going on. And then Duan's like, I don't know. I'm not the, I don't want to be the girl. Which just brings up the conversation of there's no girl in male and male relationship. Like saying that the bottom is the girl role is problematic and it's bad and please don't do it, people.
Mm-hmm.
And Duan was like, they were like, oh, but you're like softer. You fit the personality type of an uke. And he's like, no, I don't want it in my butt. And then um, Bones' friends are like, you could be the bottom because just because you may be tougher, seemingly tougher, stereotypes are bullshit. And that couple over there, I know them. And the kind of more feminine looking one, he's the top. And then Bone was like, I don't want it in my butt. Honestly, they were both like, they didn't want to be the wifey. And one of my favorite moments of the entire show is they're finally talking about this because Duan starts acting like very assertive and out of character. And Bone's like, what is going on with this guy?
Yeah.
Duan is like very hot and cold. He's just acting weird. And Bone's like, okay, jig is up, something's up, what's going on? And Duan tells him, and Bone's like, well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but at the end of the day, I just want to be with you, so I don't really care what position I am. And I'm like, that is the answer. That is the answer you're supposed to give. It can be both of you. Y'all converse. It's just Google it. I love that. So I loved that. And I loved that for them. I thought it was a great message. And I thought they presented an overall like serious topic in a very fun but still educational way.
Yes. And it was even funnier because at one point Boone thought that Duan had sex with him while he was intoxicated and that he had bottomed during that sex, even though
Oh
I
yeah.
I don't know how he thought that that was what happened, when what Duan actually did, which was very bizarre, is he waxed Boone's thigh hair.
Yeah. That was weird. I forgot about that.
It was bizarre. But I guess Boone, because he felt pain between his legs, he was like, okay, I think that I had sex with him last night drunk.
Mm-hmm.
But what I love is that not only didn't happen, but this is the second time where consent during being intoxicated has come up. Because if you recall, early on in the series, Boone was invited to the birthday party of a girl that he used to fuck around with.
Right.
And she had told him, oh, you need to bring me this present and everything else, trying to make it seem to her friends like they had a deeper relationship than what they actually had.
Right.
And Duan is at the bar and he is intoxicated because he's just a really light drunk. It takes one drink and then he's out of it.
Yeah.
And Boone wanted to take Duan home. And Ram got up and said, how do you know him? Why would I let you take my friend home when I don't know who you are and I don't know who you are to him? And so the whole thing about never leave your intoxicated friends behind, don't let them go home with strangers, that was totally addressed. But then also, you're drunk and I'm not going to take advantage of you while you're drunk. That's not the kind of person I am. That would be wrong. And
Right.
I appreciate that. I still think that waxing somebody's leg hair while they're drunk is bizarre and I wouldn't do it, but you know, like, yeah. So I really appreciate that they did not fall into that trope of I'm drunk, let's have sex. Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that.
Right.
All right. So let's talk about our precious babies, Meek and Boss, who had our first like legitimate kiss on the show.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, they were a weird one for me because I don't know if you remember, but the first 2 episodes, I was like, I think we need to let the straights have one. Like, Boss and this girl are low-key adorable. And like, I don't say that often. I am like, everything is gay. And I was like, we can throw the heteros a bone. Like, because Boss had like weirdly good chemistry with this female character whose name I don't remember, and that's bad of me. Fawn. Yes. Okay, Fawn. She and him were like middle school friends, and he like stood up. I forgot if he stood up for her or if he called her fat, and that's when she got skinny.
It was a combination of both.
Yeah.
The kids were calling her fat and they wouldn't play with her. And he's like, you can play with me. And then she heard that the kind of girls he likes are not larger girls, and she was fat at the time. So she lost weight. And then it's so funny because later on when they meet up as grown-ups and they recognize each other, well, at least he recognizes her from back then. He's like, I asked you to play soccer with me because you were fat and I thought you'd be a good goalie.
The show is so funny. But yeah, like they just had really good chemistry. Like they generally had good on-screen chemistry. And I was like, this is kind of nice. And then she had to kind of go away like as a physical presence because she entered this idol competition in which she was not allowed to have a boyfriend. So their relationship went on the down low. So she became like no longer a physical presence. And after like that happened, I think that's when I started to like Mech and Boss a lot more as like the idea of them being a couple. Because that's when they did like Boss would be like, oh Mech, I don't know how to ride a bike, or I've never been on a date. Can you go on a mock date with me? And they would go on these like mock dates, and it was very cute and wholesome, fun. And I don't know, like it did get kind of annoying how Boss was like seemingly never appreciative of all the work Mech did as a friend. I feel like that's one thing that I would count as like that I didn't like, but overall doesn't like bother me that much.
It was very theory of love.
Yeah, but I felt like I could get over that. It's not like something that I'm gonna be like, man, this series would have been great, but this ruined it. No, it's like this was kind of annoying, but it's in character, which I guess is important and it's good. And I think his character evolved out of that once they started dating, which is good. So yeah, but wasn't like, so I forgot, how did they get together? So
okay, so Meek and Boss knew each other since freshman orientation. They were part of the same friend group in engineering, and Boss was trying to date Fawn. Now, how Fawn came into the picture is that Meek and Boss were handing out flyers for this volunteer club that one of their friends was running. And they were in the drama department, and somebody from the drama department said, hey, I'm shooting a student film. I need somebody to star as the leading man. And he asked Meek to be the leading man, and Fawn was the leading woman. And that's how Meek and Fawn got back in contact after not knowing each other for many years from middle school. And so once Boss starts dating Fawn, Fawn enrolls into an entertainment contest because she was in the school of drama. She was training to be an actress, to be an entertainer. And Boss is doing everything he can to support her in her dream of being an idol, star, whatever you want to call it, including, getting on all the computers in the school to vote for her, all kinds of stuff. And while he's doing that, he's also trying to figure out how to be a boyfriend because he's never dated anybody. He's never been given a chance to date anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So Boss is helping him out with that and trying to, give him pointers on how to have a date, ride a bicycle, all this stuff. Well, finally, Fawn makes it into like the final rounds of this big entertainment competition. And she just doesn't have any time to be with Boss. It's not that she hates him. She's not abusive to him. She just has to cancel all of their dates all the time because of her entertainment obligations. So Boss decides he is going to try to join the same entertainment company through the boys' version of this competition. So Meek is helping him learn how to play guitar so that he can do a guitar song to try to win this audition to do the same competition that Fawn is doing. Well, Boss gets to the audition and they call his name, and the person in the room is Fawn's manager, and she's like, Fawn is working really hard to be an idol. She can't be dating right now. So even though you've worked really hard for this audition, I just want you to know to stay away from her because she doesn't have time to be dealing with someone like you. So of course, Boss is brokenhearted, goes back to Meek's place that he had been living at while he was trying to learn how to play guitar, and he's drunk and distraught and like, no one's ever gonna love me, no one likes me, I've never had anyone who was interested in me. And Meek is finally like, he erupts after keeping silent and trying to help Boss and trying to be the supportive friend because he didn't want to ruin their friendship. He's like, I can't stand to hear you talk down on yourself when I care so much about you and I think you're so wonderful. And they have the first legitimate kiss of the series. And all of us were taken by surprise because this was not a couple that we expected to kiss from anytime soon because they weren't even dating. But it was one of those things where I think that like the dam just burst on that relationship. And it says a lot about like, at what point do you love yourself more than you love somebody else? Because throughout the show up to that point, I felt so bad for Meek because he was incredibly selfless. Like anything that Boss asked him to do, he pretty much did. Now, it didn't keep him from like playing around and kind of teasing him and stuff like that. But every time Boss asked for help from Meek, Meek gave it to him.
Right.
And you could see that it hurt him to help Boss learn how to love somebody else. Like that is just, it's more than can be asked for. Right. And so at one point, I was wondering like, when is Meek gonna let this go? When is he gonna realize that this is not gonna work for you? But this is boys love, so there's always a chance.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the communication for them, is like Meek willing to take a chance to reveal his true feelings to Boss, and Boss actually, not just going for wherever he can find it. So theirs was a very interesting story.
Yeah, I thought when they got together, it was just so nice because Boss was like, yeah, I've been liking you too. I just thought it would never gonna happen. So I just thought it was
and it was so sad because like they showed the exact moment that Boss gave up on pursuing Meek seriously when they were freshmen and they had these name tags and everyone had called them husband and wife. And one of Meek's friends came up to him and he put his arm around the friend. And in that moment, Boss, who may have been willing to try to, make it deeper, was like, okay, we're just friends.
Right.
And I was like, oh, baby, this was a misunderstanding. This could have been together years.
And once they got together, they're just the cutest couple because they have such a fun dynamic. They don't take anything too seriously. They're both respectable of each other. They just, they established a great friendship with them. So when they got together, it was just kind of like the friendship that they had. They're just making out a little bit more,
Yeah. And also, thank you to Boss for not being an asshole. There are so many boys loves, including Together With Me, which we will watch soon, where when the one character decides to go the gay route, and they've got a girl that they've either are currently dating or have been dating, they just I'm going to date 2 people at one time until I'm sure that I really want to be gay. He doesn't do that. You know,
Yeah.
he told Meek from the beginning, I'm going to break up with Fawn in person. That's what I'm going to do because she deserves. But she's really busy right now, so I don't want to break up with her over the phone. So I just want you to know I'm here for you. I'm with you. We're together, but I need to wait until I can get in front of her so I can break up with her for real. Well, Fawn shows up, and Meek, who is so used to like not being that romantic partner in Boss's life, he's ready to walk away. He's like, okay, well, it was fun while it lasted, but you know, obviously you're going to choose a girl over me because you've always been trying to get a girl. And Boss tells her, I am so sorry, but I like Meek more than I like you. I did like you. I was honest about that, but I like him more. Let me walk you back to your car so you can go home. And then he comes back to the campsite and takes a megaphone, like, me and Meek are a couple. We are together. I love this boy. He is my man. And it's just like,
Yeah, so good. Just like happy.
You know, none of this hiding undercover, don't tell anybody we're together shit. Like, no, this is my man.
Yeah.
And it's just like, thank you. Thank you for her not being a villain, because she was never a villain. Thank you for him not dragging it out. You know, even when she was trying to call him and talk to him, he's like, wait till I get back from camp. He never lied to her. He's just like, wait till we see each other in person. That way I can really tell you what's going on, because you deserve the respect of hearing this from me. But yeah, like, that's how you do it. Boys love. Take note. That's how you do it.
Yes, they were great. Oh, the one thing that always makes me feel a little weird when I see it in a boys love, when one person has like a photo shrine dedicated to another person.
Do people do that in real life? I really want to know, because I have never done that in my 40 years.
I mean, I get it if it's like, I only kind of get it if it's like a celebrity you like I have an EXID poster to the side of me, but I don't just have like just 100 photos of like Lee Dong-wook around my room being like, I lust after you, Lee Dong-wook, you're so hot, which he is. But like doing it for someone in real life, that'd be weird. Like if I walked into a man's room and I just see a bunch of photos of me, he's gonna kill me. I'm his victim. He is gonna kill me. And I am calling I am escaping.
For real. And this is like not even the first time we've seen that. We saw it in 2 Moons, the show, where,
And Fauna was like, I
like,
dig it. I'd be like, ooh, he's gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Why was a sociopath?
Yeah, he wants to wear your skin. Run.
Do I look pretty?
I would fuck me.
Holding his little dog.
Oh man. But yeah, one thing we do have to say though, and since while we're still talking about it, because this is the thing that I think would disengage a lot of people from this couple. The actor who plays Meek is a Chinese actor. He does not speak Thai. His voice was dubbed over for this show. When I first started watching this show, the voiceover threw me off. For a lot of people, it was hard for them to get into the show because of the dubbing. But I want to say that like after a few episodes, I just really got used to it and it didn't bother me anymore. But it is one of those things that you have to kind of tell yourself this is for a reason and kind of roll with it.
Right.
Also, the actor who played Meek, his name is Ryan. Apparently, he was not the easiest person to work with on set. He is currently in China. He's not been doing any promotions with any of the guys from the show. And we're not actually sure if he'll be back for season 2 because from what we've been told, his contract was terminated.
Yeah, so that's the only thing. And I just want to say that this is like completely alleged. Like this is just what's going around on the Twitters and like my drama list, which is not the most reliable. So this is just sort of like, honestly.
Don't sue us.
Yeah, don't sue us. We're being a little messy, if we're being honest. You know, I think we've made it clear that we're kind of messy bitches in the last few episodes. So, you know, it's going to carry over if there's some interesting drama.
I mean, but it is a fact that he's not promoting with them
It is
and
a fact.
hasn't been for many months. Like since the first episode aired, Ryan has not been promoting with them,
Right.
and this was before COVID shut everything down.
Right. And one of the reasons so again, it's not like confirmed that this is the reason they cast a Chinese actor, but this sounds legit, is the reason, one of the reasons they cast a Chinese actor, not a Thai actor, is because apparently a Chinese company invested in the project, and part of the agreement was to have one of their actors be in the show. So that's why he was in the show. But honestly, I think he did a really good job, and he had great chemistry with In Touch, who played Boss.
Yes, they had great chemistry. It was very friendly. He's a cute kid. He kind of looks like a little chipmunk to me.
Yeah.
But he's adorable. But I wouldn't mind if they recast somebody in that role. I would just want them to recast somebody who, again, has kind of that natural ease. Because that's the problem with kind of new actors, is a lot of times they're stiff because they're not used to being in front of the camera. And
Right.
now that all of the people in the show are so used to filming, it would bring a very unwanted awkwardness to bring a brand new actor to the set who couldn't be as comfortable in front of the camera as everyone else has become.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope if they do, we get kind of like a Z situation, like when they were doing Why Are You, and everyone was like, who are they going to pair Pete with? You know, they have to be really careful. So they did a good job there. And I think this entire show is extremely well cast. I don't think there's anyone that's like flubbing and drowning out here. Like everyone's pulling their own weight. It's great. So I trust the casting. The casting's by the same people, and they do need to recast. Hopefully the alleged stuff we said is not true. Things are fine, and he can be back, because it wouldn't bother me the overdubbing doesn't bother me anymore. So if it was the whole show, I'd be like, I don't want to listen to a redub of the whole show. Just kidding.
Yeah. But just one character, it's fine. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Thara Frong, and then we will gush about Ram King. Okay, so Thara Frong. Initially, when we're introduced to Frong, he is a love rival for Dun's affection. So Dun doesn't even know his name. He calls him by a nickname. But apparently they met when Dun was trying to deliver the first flower delivery, which also, the bloody arm thing, we never really talked about that much, but that shit bothered me. But you'll have to watch the series to know what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah. On the wrong arm.
It's like, dude. But anyway, Frong has a crush on Dun, and he wants to date him. But when he realizes that Dun doesn't have any attraction to him outside of friendship, he backs up, and that's great. Yeah. But he is the brother to the person, he's the son of the flower shop owner, but also like the brother to the guy who mainly works at the flower shop. And Dr. Thara comes in to buy some flowers, and Frong's in a bad mood. Dr. Thara comes in there, and he pretty much is like, get the fuck out of here. I'm not going to sell you anything. So their initial pairing is very antagonistic. But then through alumni meetups and other stuff, having to go visit the hospital, they keep coming into each other's orbit until one day Frong's mother is sick, and they take her to the hospital, and they believe that she might have cancer. And at that point, Dr. Thara is a much bigger presence in Frong's life. And Frong initially is combative because, you know, his mother has been diagnosed with possibly a life-ending illness, and she's his only parent. So he's very emotional. And Dr. Thara tries to comfort him, but Dr. Thara is kind of he's a very neutral-faced person, if that makes any sense. So he doesn't display extreme emotion really at any time during the show. And I think that Frong felt like, you don't understand, because here you are with this very pleasant face giving me platitudes. How would you get it? And Dr. Thara, we find out, has lost a father to cancer. And he's a weirdo. I'm not going to lie. Dr. Thara's a weirdo. He's got a pet lizard named Cupcake, and he picks up trash to do stress relief. Like, he's a weirdo. But he's a very sincere person. And throughout the show, Frong realizes that, you know, in a lot of ways, for all of his kind of neutral facedness, he's a very caring person. He brought Frong's mother a bunch of magazines and information about how to pick up her spirits. He goes around the hospital leaving flowers for everybody. Like, he's just, I love him.
So one side thing about the magazines, there was a magazine, and at one point they pan over, and like Fran Drescher is on the cover. Did you see that? Because I was just watching the show, and I was like, why the fuck is Fran Drescher in this type? What is is the nanny a global hit? Did I not know?
I mean, I get why. She's a fashion icon.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, I grew up Jewish. I know what the nanny is. Like,
but yeah, Dr. Thara, he's quirky. And he's somebody that I was telling Mason during one of our conversations that I've never seen in A Boy's Love. He's not a person who's up for a bunch of drama. He is kind of lost in his own world, but not lost in his own world to where he's like an alien. Kind of more just like he rolls with every punch. And it's kind of nice to see somebody like that, where the obliviousness of a relationship is not because they're stupid or, you know, asexual. It's just more like, I interpret the world in a different way, and that's just not where my mind is.
Right. And I feel like that's a good point to bring in correlation with how their story ended with season 1. So there will be a season 2. Did we discuss that there'll be a season 2 yet?
A little bit, but that's fine.
Okay, there'll be a season 2. We're very excited. It's confirmed. It's official.
Yes.
And so there had to be something to bring us back. So Thara and Frong are the only one, or not the only one. They're the only ones that didn't kiss, but they're one of the
They're friend-zoned.
Yeah, that they're one of the 2 couples that isn't like officially dating by the end of season 1. And I think part of that's because Thara is kind of just oblivious, and I don't think he even realizes that he has an inkling of feelings for Frong. Like, I think he's just doing what he naturally would do and isn't kind of second guessing it. So like when he's taking pictures of Frong and friends shirtless and they're very focused on Frong, I don't think he's thinking of that as like, I like this guy. I think he's just like, hey, okay, and like takes a photo and like isn't really questioning it. Whereas Frong, you know, he's already expressed interest in a male character before. So I don't know what sexual orientation is, but clearly he likes the men in some capacity. So it's sort of like, I feel like by the end of season 1, we get sort of hints that Frong is like, well, I like this guy, but he just seems oblivious.
Yes.
Like Frong, didn't Frong invite him to like the last like 3 episodes take place on a camp retreat. They're like volunteering to plant trees, and there's like a river, and it's very beautiful, and it's a nice little camp adventure episodes. And Frong invites him, like, hey, come with me, you know, we'll stay in the same tent, I guess. So.
Yeah, and Thara's like, I gotta see if I'm on rotation that week. Like, he's not, you know, oh, I'm taking this as you're inviting me because you want to have sex with me. It's like, no, you're inviting me because you said you don't have any friends that are going on the trip, and we've become friendly through your mother, so I'll go as your friend. But Dr. Thara, and this is a thing that I didn't pick up until very later on, him being the way he is really smart writing for the show, because Dr. Thara and Duan are cousins.
Yes.
And so for the both of them to be kind of these very naive, oblivious characters, it makes sense that those would be the characters that are related. So I was like, I see what you did there, author. That's nice. I like that.
Yes.
Yeah, but Dr. Thara, he seems like he's the kind of guy that, like, you know, that's just never been where his mind is. Relationships have never been where his mind is. Right. And what I would like to see, which I don't know if it would happen, but I wouldn't mind if Dr. Thara becomes our first asexual boys love person.
And he's like romantically interested, but he's not like sexually in it. I could see that. I wouldn't mind that. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, because then I could see Frong like trying to learn how to interpret a relationship where sex is not the main thrust of the relationship. If Dr. Thara's like, I have feelings for you, very strong feelings. I'm protective of you. I care about your emotions. I want to do things for you, but, you know, I just don't have a lustful urge towards you. but I want a very close relationship with you. And the closest relationship I can think of is brothers. So by
Right.
telling you we are brothers, I'm telling you I want a very close relationship with you. Can you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't think that's where it's going to go for season 2, but if it went that way and he was trying to explain kind of what his romance will be with him,
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see it, because that is a form of representation that is severely lacking in all media.
Absolutely. Yeah. That'd be a great way for them to go. Again, I agree. I don't think they'll go that way, but it's going to be interesting regardless to see how their relationship develops, because they left him in a spot where it's not in a bad way. They just haven't gotten to dating yet. And that's okay, because we have next season to develop this further.
Yeah, because like they didn't even really get on each other's radar until almost halfway through the series. So it would be weird for them to start dating when there wasn't even really any connection between the two characters
Right.
throughout the first few episodes.
Yeah. Yeah. But I like that.
All right.
Good.
Now
So,
we get to talk about our favorites.
and the internet favorite, for being honest. Everyone's in this for Ram King in a lot of ways.
Yes. Okay, first of all, Tale is a legend. He is the future of boys' love. Pay attention.
Busy.
Yes, that boy has got 2 jobs and 2 jobs lined up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's the future of boys' love. Perth is the future of Mason's love life.
We just have, like, he's so charming and we have a lot in common. Like, we like a lot of the same anime, a lot of the same games. He seems like a like-minded, like, personality type in some ways. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he always seems across very laid back. And I'm like, I would love to be your friend, because I think we'd hang out well.
Yeah, well, I think that you would love to be his naked friend as well.
No. He speaks English. What if he watches this?
Yeah, he's Australian. If you watch this, Perth, I just want to let you know that even if it doesn't get to naked times, we still would both like to be your friend. But Mason would also like to share naked time with you. Anyway.
This is becoming my hair color right now. This is...
Okay, so Ram and King. Ram is played by Perth. King is played by Tale. And they are the strongest boys love couple of 2020. Fight me.
Mm-hmm.
They're stronger than Sarawat and Tyne. They're stronger than the couple from Until We Meet Again. They are a strong couple. And it's so funny because they aren't even going out by the end of the series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they leave on a very ambiguous note.
Yes. But one of the things that we don't talk about enough when it comes to boys love is, what is this relationship built on? And with Sarawat and Tyne, there was an immediate attraction of Sarawat to Tyne. But outside of him trying to get Tyne to reciprocate or know that we can date, we don't really see what inside of their relationship makes them work, what makes them attracted to each other. This whole season has been about these 2 people getting to know each other to the point that they could see themselves being something more than friends.
Right.
And that is something that I have wanted to see in boys love for so long. We always either enter the story after people have been friends for years and they're trying to date, or we get to the I like you from the moment I saw you and I'm just trying to get you to be my man.
Mm-hmm.
And this couple is all about, like, I just want to know you.
Right.
And I want to know you more and more and more. And now I'm realizing I want to know you more and more because I want to be more and more than just a friend to you.
Right.
And I love it.
And none of this is said verbally. It is just good acting. Like, real talk, they look like they really like each other. And you see them go from friends to like wanting to date each other, just in a lot of ways through the acting. It's like, props to both of them, honestly. Props to the entire show. They've all been great. But they,
everyone,
you know, like Ram just like looks, he has those puppy dog eyes, which fits with his whole taking care of dogs thing. And Talay just like, again, he's the future boys love. Like, he's just
His
so good.
hair. Oh my God. His hair the first time.
I want to like stroke it. Like, oh my God.
His hair is like a young Leonardo DiCaprio, or it's very 90s Jonathan Taylor Thomas. That middle part with like the the curtain of hair. It's perfect. But yeah, acting is it. I remember when we were in the early episodes of this show, you and me were like, why would they dub Meek's voice when they could just switch the characters since Rom never talks? Now that we're where we are, I can't imagine anyone else on the planet playing Rom.
Yeah, they're both tailor-made for these roles. They're terrific. They're great. One of my favorite scenes with Rom and King is, so it's about a little bit past halfway in the show. They'd started talking more. I don't think Rom had started like verbally communicating as much, but they were like texting and things like that, because again, Rom would text, like if King would be like, hey, how are you? In person, Rom would like text him. I don't know. It was just like his.
I'm fine.
Yeah, fine. Yeah. So there's a great episode. There's a great scene where it's after Ram figures out that his dad and his best friend have been hooking up. I don't know if he knew who his best friend yet, but he knew his dad was cheating. And he was like very upset. He didn't really know how to handle this. And there's like kind of everyone in the show basically gets together for like a fun dinner at King's house.
Yes.
And at some point while they're cooking dinner, King notices that Ram, he's not acting right. He seems more off and more quiet than normal. So he pulls him aside. They go into this cute little cabana, I guess it would be. And he's like, listen, I'm here to talk if you want to talk. I'll always love to hear what you say if you're going through something. But if you just need someone to be there for you, to just be a presence at right now, we can do that too. And it's just like, and that's truly like a good friend. Like my best friend, when she gets really upset, she doesn't necessarily want to talk about it, but she would like someone there as like a physical comfort, that someone is there just in case. And they address that, and I just thought that was like such a great moment, not even in a romantic way, just like that's what a friend should say. Like, good, if you want to talk, we will talk. Otherwise, I will just be here for you. We can hug, you know, but I will sit here in peace with you and let you in your feelings and make sure you know that you're not alone. I thought that was so fucking amazing.
I did too. Like early on in the show, like you were saying, King talks a lot, whereas Rom doesn't. And there are a lot of times where King is talking, and when he's talking, he's telling Rom what he assumes Rom is thinking, what he wants. You know, he's like vocalizing, I feel like this is the information you're giving me nonverbal. And in the beginning, he's not quite there. Like, for instance, he orders some food, and then Rom has to text him and let him know, I don't really eat this kind of food. But as the show goes on, more and more, when King is verbalizing the things that he feels like Rom is thinking, he is right on the nose.
Right.
And that is just because he's getting to know him more and more and more. And so right after the gazebo cabana incident, the party's over, Rom is getting ready to leave, and he turns around and tries to tell King, my dad, and he gets cut off because his friends are like, hey, we're drunk, it's time to go home. But like the fact that he didn't want to text this, he wanted to say it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just beautiful because you're like, oh, we're there, we're getting there, words, you know.
Yeah. And then the relationship progresses further, because it comes to a point where Ram is like, I can't be at home, it's not happening. He takes his dogs and he leaves. He starts wandering around, and King is like, why don't you stay with me, even though your dogs scare the absolute crap out of me? Which, by the way, those dogs were so cute. I just wanted to pet them. They were so cute. I hope they have cute names. I hope they're named like Fred. I hope they have dumb human names. Sorry, I really like dogs, by the way. So I'm like tangenting. I grew up with
And
dogs.
it's like 3 huskies, I think is what he
Yeah,
had.
they're huskies. Oh, they're so cute. They're so fluffy. Oh,
Yes.
Fred.
So King takes Rom home, and he does not ask him to tell him everything. He's just like, all I want to do right now is get you out the rain, get you dried off, and offer you a place to stay. And
Mhm.
even when he hears Rom crying in the night, he doesn't say, hey, what's wrong with you? Instead, he just walks over and kind of gives the signal of like, I'm standing beside you. He doesn't even reach out his hand. Like,
Mhm.
he doesn't even like automatically go for the touch. He's
Mhm.
just like, I'm going to stand near you so that you know that I'm receptive to taking whatever it is you need to give me right now. Because I
Right.
can tell you have a need, but I don't know what that need is. So I'm just going to wait for you to let me know what that need is.
Mhm.
And that's when King leans over and cries on him and just lets it all out. And it's great. It is great. Like, and the way that King talked about it beforehand, too, he kind of knew, but he wasn't sure. He's like, obviously you wouldn't be out in the rain with your dogs unless you couldn't be at home, because your dogs are super important to you and you would take them home. You wouldn't have them outside.
Mhm.
Whatever's going on at home, if you were ready to deal with it, you wouldn't be away from home.
Mhm.
So stay here so you can think about it until you're ready to go back and take your dogs back.
Mhm.
And it's just like, he didn't say anything, but you got it all. And that's the kind of relationship building that I want to see, where it's like, we know each other so well that you don't have to give words to me. My sense of perception lets me know what's going on with you. Like, I still want y'all to talk. Don't get me wrong. I still want you to talk. But I also want you to pick up on nonverbals,
Mhm.
because that is another part of communication. It's a strong
Right.
part of
Mhm.
communication. So that was fantastic. And like, King, even though it takes him a while to figure out that he likes Rom, when he hand cultivated those Venus flytraps, that's something that a person in love does. That's not casual.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he was in it from the beginning, but he absolutely showed like, I'm in it.
Mhm. Ooh, speaking of the plants, one of the reasons that King was so like okay and receptive of the not talking was, so King's whole thing is he just loves plants. His home is just covered in plants. Like, it's insane. And um, at one point he just tells Ram, he's like, I always talk to my plants and they never say anything back, so I'm kind of used to that. He's like, I'm used to no response and just talking to my plants like I'm a crazy person. And it's like, it's cute. It's nice. It's good storytelling. It's good writing. Um,
Yes.
yeah. Do you want to talk about kind of how they left off in the last few episodes and where they might go
Yes.
to?
Okay, so Rom and King, I think we get the first hint that Rom is interested in King actually pretty early on, because King is bothering Rom. But I think at one point King got Rom's number, or Rom got King's number. I can't remember what it is. But Rom's brother says, if you didn't like this guy, you would have deleted his message. And so early on, you get the sense that Rom is not as annoyed about King's chattiness as maybe it would let on because of his silence.
Mhm.
But then they go to eat dinner together, and there's like some lady at the place flirting with him, whatever else. As they're leaving, King gets a phone call, and he was like, oh man, I meant to get a drink while we were back there. After he gets off the phone call, here's Rom like breathing heavy with this drink in his hand.
Uh-huh.
So like all along, Rom was kind of getting this sense of, like, I I do like this guy. Even if it's not like I like you, like boyfriend, I like you. Like, there's your personality fits, I want to be around you.
Yeah, something's
And
there.
yeah. But after like the whole dad thing and letting me stay at your place, they go to the park with King's nephews. And to me, the park sealed the deal for Rom. Like, when he was just sitting there kind of thinking, and King's like, hey, are you thinking about your dad? And they go to lay down in the grass, and they have that, like, their two heads are together, but their feet are
Hmm.
opposite directions. I could see it on the actor's face that he's like, I'm not thinking about my dad right now. I'm thinking about you.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, I didn't even say anything.
And the acting is so good. It's so good.
Yes, and then random homeless man attacks a dog, and it is the most out of character, bizarre thing that happened in this entire show.
Oh yeah, I have no fucking clue what that scene was meant to be, why it happened, anything. They're just at the park, and then there's this dog barking, and I think like Ram had like fallen asleep on the grass, and King was like, "Oh, this dog sounds real angry," and then he sees like a homeless man trying to like pet the dog. It wasn't clear what the homeless man was doing to the dog. And then he's like, "Hey, homeless man, skadoodle." And then he's like, "Easy, dog. Like, you don't need to be afraid." But, King, this whole time has been very, very afraid of dogs, but he's trying to calm this dog down. And then from out of nowhere, the homeless man gets like a big stick, like a real big one, and just bashes King over the head with it. And you're like, what is going on? And then, he's about to go in for like another hit, and then Ram pops up and he has like a soda can. He like crushes it. And he's like, "I'm going to beat you up," because it had been established that Ram was like a pro fighter,
Muay Thai fighter.
Yeah. So he was strong, like canonically is like a strong man. So the homeless man like runs away. We never see the homeless man again. We never know why it happened. But yeah, poor old Talay got hit over the head by a homeless man. And honestly, it's kind of the best moment in the series because it's so fucking random that I was like, this shit is wild.
Like, what? Even the dog was like, what the hell just happened?
Even explaining the scene, it feels like, I'm sure if you've never seen this show and you're listening to me explain this must be a fun ride because it just is weird.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
But it opens the door to King finally realizing his feelings.
Yeah.
So, of course, him getting bashed over the head, he has to go to the doctor and get stitches, which he says, I'm afraid of needles because when I was a kid, I got bit by a dog, and I have always been afraid of needles and things like that. And so King gets to see Ram take care of him and just like silently doing all these things to care for him. And all of a sudden King's like, okay, I've been trying to anticipate Ram's needs, but he's been silently anticipating my needs this whole time. What are we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we like this? And so, yeah, there's the, taking care of him when he goes to the doctor, digging his hands and his fingers into his hand. Mm-hmm. Then there's the, trying to get up to get medicine and tell me about your tattoos, daddy. And then there's, we're going to be late. And then there's we're going to be late for the camping trip. Let's go take a shower together to cut time. Mm. And then while they're on the bus to the camping trip, Ram goes to touch the stitches on King's head to make sure they're okay. And all of a sudden, King's like, I've been touching him this whole time, but when he goes to touch me, it's like, wait a minute. Mm-hmm. And so that begins kind of the crisis of feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and then they do the whole, get away from me, I don't know what I'm feeling, blah, blah. So that happens for about one episode. Yeah. And then at like the beginning of the finale, King is super drunk, and Ram's like, I guess I gotta take care of him again. So he brings him to his tent, is about to lie him down, and King's like, get away from me, and Ram's like, no. We need to talk this out, which, for the record, not good if you have to carry him back because he's so drunk. Might not be the best time to have this conversation, but then, King is like, you make me feel so good, and I've never really felt that, and I don't know how to process it. Then he kisses him, and, Ram kisses back, and you're like,
even though you're drunk, this is still perfect.
Yeah. And then they kind of wake up together. It's not implied at all that like they did anything, like they didn't have sex.
No.
Probably just like they kissed, and then Ram probably was like, "You need to go to bed."
Yeah.
So they wake up the next morning, and King remembers everything, and he's like, the gay panic happens again. And then Ram is like, how'd you sleep? And then King's like, good, what do you remember? And Ram's like, nothing. And Ram's like, or King's like, whew, okay, the gay panic is quelled for now. So this was kind of weird, I will say. So as they're leaving, King gets into a car and tells Ram, I'll see you back at the apartment, because they're still living together.
Yeah.
They're still living together. He goes, so it's weird that they go back home in different cars.
Well, no, I think what happened is that King's sister came to pick him up because he needed to go do something with his family. So I guess he needed to go take care of that, and then he was going to come back to the apartment.
Oh,
that's his truck. That was his sister's truck.
Oh yeah, okay. And it was like, why did this truck come out of nowhere? I must have like blinked and I missed it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So okay, scrap that. That's problem solved. And then while King is on the truck riding home, he gets a text from Ram saying, I wasn't drunk last night. And then Ram is like, the gay panic has returned.
Season 2!
Yeah. I can't wait for season 2, because I hope it's not like a whole season of them doing an on and off again thing. It's like, listen, y'all made out last night. You clearly like each other. Let's get the ball rolling.
Yes. I think that season 2 will have a lot more to do with families. I think that's going to be a big part of season 2. And we still have everything unresolved with the cheating going on in Ram's family.
So that needs to be resolved. One thing that has been on the back of my mind that I think they'll bring up in season 2, I wonder if they'll do anything with Duan's military dad.
Yes, and his very kind of sheltering parents. I'd like to see something going on with that.
Right.
One of the things, now's the time when we talk about side characters.
Yeah.
One of the things that I loved about this show, and I want to see more of in season 2 because it was so adorable, were our little matchmakers, Boone's cousin and Duan's sister, and their little family. I don't know why, but those are some of my favorite parts of the show, because Boone's little cousin, he's just like, I see everything for what it is. You can't play me. I'm just as adult as you guys are. Yeah, I love them. But like, yeah, there's a lot of side characters involved in the show that, I mean, they don't take away from the story action at all, but I'm hoping to get those people more incorporated. So definitely I want to see more of the cousin and the sister kind of in there. I could see them being the ones to say, oh, but we love our daddy Boone and our mama Duan, like when the family starts to be like, this is wrong, stay away. And they're like, no, we love them. And also, King's sister, who is wild.
Oh, she is weirdly shipping her brother.
Yes.
Like, you're gay? Whoo, let's have a party. Like, she's supportive. I'd rather have that.
Yeah, so I'm waiting to see more of that for sure. Ram's brother, he seems very supportive as well. So, kind of what's going to go on with him. Please let them recast Ram's mom. She is the only actor in this entire series that I actively want to see replaced.
It's just a little weird because, like, Ram will speak English to his mom, and the mom has, like, a thick, like, European, maybe French accent back. She's like, oh, pipi, je m'appelle croissant. And you're like, oh, what? And Ram's out here with, like, a full-on Australian accent. And you're like, and then the brother's British. Again, I think that's because it's a Thai show, and they're probably like, they won't notice.
Yeah, they're all white people.
Yeah, and we're international fans, so we have I wouldn't notice if they had, like, different Thai dialects. I mean, Bone and Duan could be, like, Duan could this whole time be talking in the the Thai equivalent to a Southern accent, and I would be none the wiser.
No, I would never know. But as an international fan, especially an English-speaking international fan, it's like, where are all these people from? How did you all meet? There's no way these are your kids.
Kidnap them? What happened?
Yeah. Like, can you help your mother set the table? Your father will be home soon. And you're like, all right, mate.
I fix your watch for you. Here you go. I don't know why she's smoking in my fantasy, but she is. When people smoke, so I'm like, oh. Oh, Wanda Sykes does this with her wife. That's where I'm getting it from. It's a Wanda Sykes side.
But yeah, she like the whole time is just like, oh, your father has a broken watch. I fixed it for him. And the other, and then Ram is like, right, matey. I'm like, what? And then his brother's like, kiss us for tea.
Fucking Mary Poppins over here. It's like,
yeah, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? How do y'all know each other? Where is everyone from? But yeah, that I actively are campaigning to have her recast. I do not want her. I don't want her. Anyone else but her. But yeah, I want to see more of those characters. I want to see more of Frang's mom, because we haven't met any of Dr. Thada's family, but obviously Frang's mom is very important to him. And so I want to see kind of more of her recovery from her health crisis, and kind of how she advises her son in love or whatever else. But yeah, that and Ting Ting is us watching this show and being like, I will forever be single, fuck y'all.
No, she's you.
That's true, because you have Perth. I don't.
I'm just saying she's like the straight female with a bunch of gays. I'm like, I'm going
to rip out my ovaries because they are useless.
She's so funny, but she's also a great friend. There's a scene in the second to last episode where Duan had seen a guy, he thought Bone had kissed another man, which is not what happened. A guy tried to kiss Bone, and Bone was like pushing away, like, no. But Duan was upset, and Bone was trying to like talk it out, and Ting Ting was like, listen, it seems like y'all really need to talk about this, so I support the talking, but also, Bone, if you hurt my friend, I will kill you. And then, walks away. She's in a tree because she's probably, she just wants to know what's up. She wants to know the tea. She's probably like, what's happening?
Oh, yeah. She's behind a tree doing this number.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I love her. I think that she is all of the single women who are watching this thinking, are there any men left? Is there a single one? Even, like, they're on the bus, and there's one friend from each of the friendship groups that is unattached. So there's one friend from the medical school and one friend from the engineering group who they're pretty prominent characters. Like, the one is the only person in the friendship group who knew that Mech had a crush on Boss. So he's an important character. But they're sitting on the bus, and she screams like, all of my friends are gay, and they're all dating each other. Fuck you guys! And they look at each other like, haha, that is funny that all our friends are gay. And it's just like, oh no!
Well, listen, literally all of my high school friend group turned out gay, besides one person. So real talk, like, I know people talk about this, they're like, how do all the gays know each other in these boys' clubs? It's like, that's real life, sweetie. Like, we just find each other. I don't know how it happened. Literally everyone is somewhere on the LGBTQ spectrum in, like, my friend group back home. It's wild.
I think gaydar is real, and I think that it's one of those things that you don't know what it is until you get much later, and you're like, I could sense that something was different about you, and you sensed it about me, and now we realize it's because we're sisters.
There's been college friends where, like, I've been talking to people, and they're like, did you know so-and-so was gay? And I'm like, first of all, we're in college. I don't know why you're talking about this like we're in high school. Second of all, how did you not know? And they were like, he seemed straight. And I'm like, honey, your gaydar, it's a little off. Because clocked.
Yes. So very much so. But yeah, I feel like there is going to be someone for her though. There is one guy that is a part of the medical friendship group that he seems kind of unattached, and they're seen kind of following each other around throughout
Mm-hmm.
the second to last episode. I
Right.
think that's going to be her man. And he's a cutie too. Like there's no shortage of lookers on this show.
Yeah, they're all good looking.
Yeah, so I think that's gonna be her man. But I just love how she was the first one who was like, if Doohan likes Bone, there's no reason for us to stand in his way. Like she has constantly been
Mm-hmm.
supportive, but not like to the point where like I just want to see people be gay. She's more like, you're my friend. I love you. Whatever you want, I want for you. And if something bad is gonna happen, I'll take care of it because I'm your friend and I'm willing to kick ass.
Yeah, it's on site.
Yeah, so I mean she's that ride or die friend, and I love her. I really, really love her. And even when Doohan's friends wanted to fight Bone physically, like at the same time, it was never like my friends hate you. It was more like our friend is extremely naive and innocent, and he's never been in a relationship. We're not going to let somebody take advantage of him for his first relationship.
Right. Like,
Yeah,
you
and
jump around, you're a little sus, so we need to test it out a bit.
yeah, and that's what they do. And I loved it. I love it. And so I want to see more of the friends. In season 2, I want to see more friendship. I love friendship.
I love her. She was great.
Yes. Mhm. So I think we talked about everything. I think we've recapped the entire series almost verbatim.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you want to watch it, feel free. But I mean, we told you everything.
No, you should
But
still watch it.
yeah.
I would like to say this is my highest ranking yet. If you couldn't tell, I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. Yeah! 9 out of 10.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. The only thing that keeps it from being a 10 is not the lack of skinship. The thing that keeps it from being a 10 is that there were still a few places where it could have been tightened up for me. A lot of Bones' over possessiveness wasn't cute.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the thing that I could have done a little bit less on. And then, like I said, there was very theory of love, the relationship between Meek and Boss,
Mm-hmm.
to the point that I'm like, you are hurting yourself. And at some point, you have to kind of stand up for yourself. It got resolved really well, but there were a few times where I'm like, just give it up. Just give it up, move on, find somebody for yourself.
Yeah, I would agree. Exact same reasons. It's still an A. I still, 9 out of 10 is a great score.
Yeah.
I just hope that those two things are addressed in season 2, especially Bones over possessiveness. That really needs to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's season 2, and there's a lot of setup for some really interesting things to happen in season 2, while giving us the same tone. So
Yes. Absolutely. I think that they've put a lot of things in motion where there can be a build and they don't have to go for like cheap shortcuts in order to build.
right, I love that they didn't just like throw in like, oh, there's a surprise like last minute villain, you know, like
Yeah.
that was our problem with Together. There was just like a last minute. I mean, she's not a villain, but she's like an obstacle that just felt unnecessary.
Yeah. Like even the guy who tried to kiss Bone, he was introduced in like episode 2 or 3, like very early on he was introduced. So he
Mhm.
didn't come out of nowhere. He
Mhm.
was already there. And
And
so it's like everything that happened for a reason. Like even getting hit over the head while you're trying to get a homeless guy and a dog to quit fighting, that played into like, you have to take care of me because I've been hit in the head. I got a fever playing in the lake with this injury on my head. Like everything tied in together.
yeah, the show did a really good job for the three couples. I guess I'm not going to count Frong and Thara in this one yet. The three couples, each of them had a complete role reversal within the last few episodes. Like, King was taking care of Ram emotionally, and then last few episodes, it's Ram taking care of King. And then Bone is always, jealous of things happening to Doohan, and then Doohan's jealous of Bone. And then Was there a role reversal with Beck and Boss?
It wasn't really a role reversal, but it was like, it was definitely a lesson learned. Meek went from, we had one understanding years ago that prevented us from being together. We are not going to spend another second misunderstanding what's going on right here.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
A year. I loved it. It was a great show, a great watch. Please watch it. It's so good. It's so much fun. It's a great quarantine watch. Like, if you're like, the world sucks, I need to feel happiness today. It's a great show.
Yes. And it's color. Oh my God. It is so much color.
Mm-hmm.
And that is another thing that we just don't get to see. Like, it is at King's house, it's beautiful color.
Yeah.
At his apartment, there's plants everywhere, beautiful color.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, Bone and Doohan go on a date with Doohan's little sister, and they're going through like a street market full of color.
Right. They take advantage of not having it placed in school as much, because a lot of the ones that are in school, it's like, well, they're in their, you know, white shirt with black pants against a white wall, and like the only color is like the engineering shirt, which is boring. But even then, like, the school had more color than like all the other schools we see. Like, they really just, whoever directed this or was set design this must love plants, because there were always flowers and foliage and things everywhere, even in the boring school scenes or boring school sets. There was like a beautiful pink flower blooming in the background, you know?
Yeah, they were hardly ever in a classroom, which, you know, I don't know what kind of school you go to that you don't have to be in a classroom, but whatever. But they spent so much time outside, and there's plants and there's trees, and just I am in love with the way that this show looks. And clothes, Frong stayed dressed to kill.
Mm-hmm.
Even when they're on the camping trip, I'm like, why are you wearing these beautiful clothes on a camping trip? Is that a silk shirt you're wearing?
Yeah. I also really love like Bone and Doohan's fashions, like when they were going on dates. I always thought that they just wore like clothes that were very representative of the character, but they were so cute.
Like, do you remember the hoodie on the last flower day that Doohan was wearing? He had the big oversized hoodie to give him the rose bush.
It was nice. It was It almost felt like an ad for Thailand. Like, it was like, this is the daily life. And I'm like, I want to visit, kind of. This looks nice. What else?
Yeah, it definitely made you want to check it out. And then, like, the guy who plays Bone, he's a model.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows, because every time he wasn't wearing his engineering shirt, his body, they kept him in t-shirts. They kept him in form-fitting t-shirts, wearing a necklace and some earrings, and it was just like, damn, you are fine.
Yeah, he's A+, let me say.
Yes.
One quick thing I loved about the acting with Bone and Doohan, I feel like they improvised quite a bit. And I know we talked about Ram King acting being really good, but there's little moments every now and then that make me feel like these two are just good actors. And I told you about this when we called one time, and I'll try and explain it. I'll see if I can explain it well here. There's a scene where it's Bone, Doohan, Frong, and Thada, and they're at the mall eating ice cream. Mm-hmm. And so at one point, Frong takes a call, and he steps away, and then it's Bone talking to his cousin, Thada, and he's talking to his cousin. He's like very interested in what's going on, and throughout the scene, like Bone kept like taking a bite, like taking a spoon and like nabbing a bite of Doohan's ice cream, and then while Bone and Frong or Thada are in the middle of a conversation, Doohan just reaches over, takes a bite, and without even looking, Doohan just goes and like smacks his hand away. But he doesn't break eye contact with Thada. And something about that, I'm like, that had to have been improvised, because it was just such a great little acting moment. Like, it was Bone's actor taking a moment for his character to be in character, yet steal something from the scene. And he took the moment, and it was Doohan on the fly just being like, get your hand out of here. And it was, and there's little moments like that that just make the show. it honestly, it really elevates the show. It's the little things. Like we talk about in animation a lot because there's no improvising. We can't just like, there's no one that can just improvise a small hand gesture. So every little movement in animation has to be thought of. And the ones that are most effective, like if you've ever seen Spirited Away by Hayao Miyazaki, there's a scene where Chihiro was putting on her shoes. And after she puts on her shoes, she does like a boop, boop, and like double taps to make sure they fit right and then walks away. And it's like just little moments like that make the world feel real. It makes this feel like a real relationship, like real people, like this is a couple. They have a dynamic. It's Bone, acting a fool and being like, knock that shit off,
Yeah.
Anyway, it's like, I love that shit, clearly. So.
I mean, that's the best stuff. It shows that, like, as much as somebody from the outside, if they were to read that script, would think that Dune is being taken advantage of by Bone.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the way that they play it as actors, it is a give and a take. There's a lot of power that Dune has in this relationship. And he has a lot of times where he is able to say, no, I don't want that. Leave me alone. I'm removing myself from this. And there's so many times when characters that are seen as like the wifey role are kind of, I wouldn't say at the mercy of the other partner, but just more like, it makes it seem like they don't ever want to say no, or they don't ever want to push the point, or they don't ever want to show that they have a power position. But he does. He does it so many times. After the boxing match, he's like, hey, don't do stupid shit like this. After they get in the disagreement in the mall and the one guy's hitting on him, he's like, well, you started this by saying that you were single. So if you're single, I'm single. Like, they just, he pushes back, and you love to see it. You love to see it because that's what a real relationship is like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
It's great.
Good job, Lit. You did this. I want to read the books. Like, if anybody knows where I can read English translations of the books, I want to read the books. I need to read the books.
And then tell me what happens in season 2 after you read the books.
Oh, absolutely. I will spoil it all. But yeah, I mean, this is probably our worst show that we've done so far because we have literally run the globe. But that's because we love this show so much. It is worth all of the praise that we're giving it. It's worth your watch. It's absolutely worth it. And I don't know what the future holds for the director. I know that he's going to be the director of season 2. Thank you. But I want to watch anything he does in the future. I'm actually following him on Instagram because I want to watch anything he does in the future.
He's great. He does a very good job.
Yeah. There's some people who don't like sodas, and that's just because they're handicapped.
They don't get it.
Yeah, they're emotionally handicapped. Like, there's something in your heart that isn't quite turned on. And so, until you figure out how to, like, get that working, it's going to be hard for you to connect.
Yeah.
Because Sodas was another one of those shows that, for me, it didn't work on a read it plot for plot way. It had everything to do with Cincto and Christ.
Absolutely.
And that is a certain kind of magic that a director has where you can spot actors and you're like, I'm going to find a way to make everyone who's watching this fall in love with the two of you.
Right.
And fall in love with the two of you falling in love with each other. Yeah. So. I dig it. Okay. I'm going to do quickly my Instagram of the week. And my Instagram of the week is, it's not the most fun Instagram. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a corporate Instagram. And I'm sure a lot of you are like, why are you recommending a corporate Instagram? I'm recommending it because this is the Instagram that's currently giving me the most chuckles. It is the Motive Village official Instagram. It's MotiveVillageOfficial. Motive Village Official. For those of you who don't know, Motive Village is the company that is producing not only the Two Moons series, but they're also producing a brand new boy group called OXQ.
You are shady.
I want to start by saying I love Pavel. He's fun. He is a fun kid. And Two Moons 2 honestly, I like better than Two Moons 1. I like the cast better. I like the action better. I I like it better.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I follow a lot of the actors from Two Moons 2.
Mm-hmm.
And the company that represents these actors and also produces the series said, hey, you know what's really popular right now? K-pop. You know what's really popular globally? Boy bands. You know what we could be doing right now with all these hot boys that we manage that do hot boy things?
Mm-hmm.
Let's make them sing and dance.
Uh-huh.
And they decided that they are going to be a boy band called OXQ, which is something over quality. I have no idea. Who gives a fuck? But they have released their first teaser for their new song, and baby, when I tell you laughter, guffaws, you've got to watch this teaser. You've, you know, crawl into my heart.
I mean, it's
I love you.
You can literally see them counting the steps. They're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, they are counting every beat. It's not in sync. Honestly, none of them are doing a great job at dancing either. Like, it's
terrible. It is absolutely fucking terrible. But it is perfect. I'm gonna try to play it. I hate doing this, but it's like,
oh no, we're getting copyright striked if you do.
I don't have any sound. It's no sound. Yeah, but it's these boys following some girl. You can't really see it all that well, but they're following this girl around. Yeah, they're following this girl around, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we need to dance because we're boys in love with the same girl. Dance, 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 dance.
There they go.
But yeah, go to the Motive Village Instagram and give yourself a good chuckle because they are really trying to promote this. Like, this is a thing that we want to see. And I don't know if it's just because Thailand is starved for boy bands because all of them went to K-pop land, but if this is successful in Thailand, I know that I will never be a fan of Thai music because there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way. The whole song hasn't come out yet, but there's no fucking way. And this is not the first boy band that they've tried to do. The cast of the first Two Moons, they have a boy band called SB5. The cast from Love by Chance, there is a boy band out of that cast, and their group is called Tempt, T-E-M-P-T. And yeah, all of them are atrocious. All of them are terrible. Even Saint from Love by Chance and Why Are You has a solo song that you can get on the internet.
It's not good.
It's all hot garbage. It is the hottest of garbage. And it's one of those things where I'm just like, I get it. You know, you marketing, capitalize, get your coin. But try a little bit harder.
At least get a better song.
Yes, like get a song that maybe doesn't require them to dance.
Like Selena Gomez can't sing. She can't, but she has great songs.
Yes.
Like, we need better songs.
It's awful. And so, I mean, I'm going to watch it because I love watching the world burn, but at the same time, this is one of those times where I need a trend to stop. Because there's a reason why these celebrities that have left Thailand to become K-pop stars are as popular as they are. It's because they're some of the hardest working people in K-pop. They're some of the most talented people in K-pop. Lisa is a dancing phenom. Yeah. You know, Bam Bam, he is charisma on legs. Same thing with Nickhoon. They have talents that far exceed. And so just saying, oh, well, there's been some Thai people who made it in K-pop. We can do K-pop here at the house. That's years of training. Who knows what kind of bullshit Lisa had to go through before she was able to finally make it into Blackpink. And these people don't have that training. And so it comes across as very amateur and unfinished and unpolished and frankly cheap. Honestly, it comes across very cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my rant. Thank you, guys. Love you.
So I wanted to talk about two things. I wanted to introduce my own new segment because I read a lot of manga, and I wanted to talk about boys love manga that I read. So I wanted to do manga recommendations. But first, I want to talk about something I want to talk about the Stonewall riots briefly, because at the end of the day, we are watching media containing LGBTQ characters. And I feel like it's good for people to know the history, like LGBTQ history, if you're gonna watch shows with a lot of LGBTQ people. I just think it's important. Pride Month starts in just a few days. Pride Month is June because Stonewall happened in June. So I'm gonna do a fairly brief thing, but I recommend everyone like look it up. The more reasoning behind it. So Stonewall riots were a series of, I forgot if it was like 5 to 6 days. I've heard different accounts if it was 5 or 6 days. Riots in New York. They happened for this bar called, I think the bar was called Stonewall. And essentially it was late June, 1969. Judy Garland died that morning. And Judy Garland was a huge, huge icon for the LGBTQ community. And that merits its like own discussion. Just trust me, she is. I'm not gonna go into it because it would take it a year. And so a lot of people went to the bars to, you know, drink and have fun. And Judy was in a lot of ways like the last straw in some ways. Like the gay community had just been beaten down for so many years. And then, you know, they were like kind of mourning this legacy and the police start to raid. And they said, fuck off. It's often falsely like said how the riots actually started. Marsha P. Johnson, who was a Black trans woman, is said to have thrown the first brick. However, she actually said that she wasn't even there by the time the police first showed up. A lot of people say it's another trans woman named Sylvia Rivera. There's multiple accounts of who it was and who it might have been, and we don't really know officially who it was. Still, the people mentioned are queer icons, and we owe a lot to both Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera. But yeah, the Stonewall riots are what really set off the wave of trying to get LGBTQ rights in America. And that's why we have Pride Month in June. And that's why 1970 was the very first Pride parade and Pride Month ever in America. And last year was 50th anniversary of Stonewall. And this year is the 50th anniversary of the first Pride parade. And it's very sad that, you know, we can't do that, you know, given the circumstances of the pandemic going on, which I'm not like blaming the, like, I'm not saying like, fuck it, we should do it anyways. It is sad, but I just think that this stuff isn't taught in school. And a lot of people have to like literally research this on their own and learn about their own history because it's not taught, you know. We are taught white revisionist history. So that's it.
Like the Stonewall movie, the protagonist is a white man.
And he throws the first brick. Like, it's just sad. And it's like, I feel like people don't really know how impactful trans women of color are in our society. Like a lot of current, even like today, like current catchphrases come from trans women of color. You see someone saying cis, spill the tea, any of that coined by trans women of color in the ball scene in, you know, the 70s and 80s in New York.
Please watch Paris is Burning.
Please watch Paris is Burning. Opulence, you own everything. Like, I just felt like Pride Month is coming up, and I feel like people are going to watch these, and they watch these because some people watch these shows because they just think the gays are cute. And honestly, that is the exact reason why I refuse to watch The Shipper. I honestly am offended by even the premise of The Shipper. Real talk, it kind of offends me. So please know the history. Please know what we are fighting for, and that it's still going on.
I will be watching The Shipper for the both of us because I am in love with Om Pawat. Yeah. I make no secret of that.
Oh,
however,
that's great. Hottie.
However, I do agree that the commoditization of gay romance marketed towards young women
Mm-hmm.
has minimalized the actual real life struggles that gay people face in society. If someone was to look at a Love by Chance, a Why Are You, they may assume that most gay people come from wealthy backgrounds, that they're all handsome, that they're all well educated, that they all are straight passing in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth of the matter is, there are a lot of gay people who live below the poverty line because they're put out of their homes early, or they have a hard time attaining or retaining employment because of their sexuality and the obviousness of that. It's even tougher when you're transgendered because a lot of people will not respect your gender identity.
Mm-hmm.
They also face a lot of pressure from being over policed. They face a lot of pressure from society in general. And so when you are someone who consumes boys love content, but you don't support the people whose stories should be told and who are living out the fantasy, then it really says something about you as a person,
Mm-hmm.
because there is no boys love without boys loving. And the whole thing about, in my opinion as a straight woman, the whole thing about Pride is that it is about respecting the fact that love has no boundary.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with love. There's no reason why any form of love should be considered any different than any other form of love, unless it's non-consent or, age boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's about love and the right that everyone has to love and be their authentic self. And I would encourage anyone who watches us, anyone who watches Boys Love, the next time you see a Boys Love series and you see a lady boy in the background, or you see somebody who maybe you don't consider as attractive, and you're like, oh, this is ruining the fantasy. Ask yourself, what have I done to support real life gay people? What have I done to educate myself about real life gay people? What do I know about real life gay people outside of the Love by Chances, the Sodases, the Why Are Yous? Because we're in the midst of a worldwide, well, feels to me, the US is on fire right now. People are in the streets, and it's about people being fed up with their rights being dishonored.
Mm-hmm.
So just like I encourage K-pop fans, if you like R&B music, support Black creatives who help draft K-pop. If you like Boys Love, help support the communities who in many, many ways are the people bringing Boys Love to you. Because we're talking gay directors, gay screenwriters, gay actors, people behind the scenes, costumers, makeup. Boys Love doesn't happen without the LGBT community.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to jump on your point, Mason. I'm sorry.
No, I think you did. You're like a much more well-spoken person than I am, so you did a better job.
No, you did a terrific job. I didn't want to eat it up. I'm not going to talk during your manga segment. I promise you that, because I know nothing about it. But
you guys know anyone about the
But this is a show with a Black woman and a gay man.
Mm-hmm.
And we represent two minorities in the United States that are crying out for representation and are crying out for equality. And it's very difficult for us to have fun and kiki when we know that when the cameras go down or when we're not talking to you, it's a struggle out here. Yeah. And so one thing that would be a comfort to us is if you try to get to know us and you just try to support us in our right to just be like you.
Right. Yeah. Support the movements, both of them.
Yes.
If you're gonna participate in person these next few days, make sure to stay safe. But donate.
If you can't spend money, if you can't be there in person, send money to some of the different funding organizations. There's funds for paying for bail for protesters. There's funds for legal representation. There's funds for housing for trans people in many cities across the country. So if you can't give your time and you can't put your feet on the ground, put money in pockets of people who are putting their feet on the ground.
And call it out when you see it too.
Yeah. If you're housing insecure and calling it out in your home would cause you to not have housing, I get it. I'm not asking you to do anything dangerous.
Yeah.
But if you have the ability to speak up without compromising your life, please do, because staying quiet is how all of the bullshit continues to happen.
Mm-hmm. And just
Because
remember,
yeah, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say, just remember, it was the Stonewall riot. So people what are they doing? How did things change with a riot?
Riot.
So, yeah, that's for anyone that's like, oh, the looting doesn't do anything. That's not history. History says no. So, okay, thank you, Sam. You did a really good job. I appreciate it.
I love you.
I love you too. Let me get into these manga. I'm gonna do a series, a episode, for as long as I can. So some of them I physically, some of them I own digitally. Here's one that I own physically, and it is called Candy Color Paradox. It is only 4 volumes. All of them are printed in English. They are distributed through Sublime Entertainment, who, if you love Boys Love, they exclusively print Boys Love. They print yaoi and Boys Love manga. So they are my new favorite company. I buy a lot of their product because I love manga and I love the gay shit. English. Because, like, real talk, like, first of all, you don't have to ever pay for manga. Ever. Like, it is the most easily pirated thing ever. I don't pay for anything, honestly. Like,
except for that one series.
Except if you're buying like something on a webtoon sort of situation, then it's not free. But if you want to read Naruto online, oh my god, if you pay to read Naruto online, I don't know why you did that. Honestly, I don't know why. It is so easy to find, like, and anyone that has ever watched manga, like read manga or watched any anime, we are good pirates. We really are. However, a lot of Boys Love stuff isn't translated online. So I really, really thank Sublime for bringing series that I could not read or even really know about because the talk isn't there, because it's not translated online in English, because, I don't know, people just don't want to spend the time translating it. So, I mean, I don't know Japanese, so I can't do it. So I thank Sublime for doing that. They published Candy Color Paradox. I literally picked it up because I thought the covers were cute. like, okay, I work in animation. I'm gonna be picky about the art. Like, it's just gonna happen. I just thought that the covers were cute. And it's about these 2 reporters. One is named Inoue, who, let me find a better photo. Cool. So one is named Inoue, who is this guy right here, and this is Kaburagi, and they get assigned. So Kaburagi is the photographer. He writes things. They basically work undercover to get the big scoops, yada, yada, yada. I love it because they're adults. It's a workplace kind of story, and how they're basically stuck in all these cars together, and they end up falling in love, and it's great. The good thing about this, too, is the author never really knew when the series was going to be picked up and she was going to be allowed to write more of it and get published for more chapters. So each volume ends on its own. Like, you could just read volume 1 if you wanted to. I would say you definitely have to read them in order to get, like, the full story. Like, don't just skip to volume 4. You're not going to know what's going on. But, you know, if there's a conflict in volume 2, it doesn't carry to 3 because she only thought she was going to get 2 volumes. So it ends at volume 2. And then she was told she could make a volume 3. So she wrote a volume 3. So currently 4 volumes are published. I don't think there's any more published in Japan. These might be the last ones. However, the ones published in Japan, they take a few years because, again, she's not told until afterwards. So hopefully with the US sale, she can continue. I love where 4 ended. Love it. It's so cute. It's a happy series. That's why I picked it for this one. It's very wholesome, cute, character-driven. Both characters have a great dynamic. Inoue is very spazzy and all over the place. And Kaburagi, you know, he's the great stoic that you love, you know?
Mhm.
And they're so cute. It's a workplace thing, so there's no foolish, like, high school stuff. The drawings are really appealing. They're really cute. They're very pretty. The story's good. I just don't have anything bad to say. I would say it's PG-13. There's sex scenes, but it's not like, I would say it's like Tharn type level. Like, you'll see torso up, but you're not seeing penis.
Yeah.
But it's really good. It's really good. I recommend it if you want something nice and wholesome that just has some good art and some really fun characters that you can fall in love with. I love these two. I think they're great. And I truly hope the US sales, you know, reflect in Japan and we get some more. So sorry for the tangent. That took a long time, but
That wasn't a tangent. I talk way more than you do. Don't worry about it.
Candy Color Paradox is super good. And I fully recommend it. Cool.
Okay, so next week is Why the series.
Yes,
Pretty.
another Tele special.
Yes, that boy stays busy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Why the series. You can really only watch it online right now, like the Line app, I guess, whatever. But there are international links out there. You should be able to find them. But that is going to be what our next show is that we're going to review. After that, we're probably going to be reviewing Dark Blue Kiss.
Mm-hmm.
So please get ready to watch that. You've been given 2 weeks advance notice, so gives you plenty of time to watch it. But one thing that some people might be upset with when we do Dark Blue Kiss is that neither one of us have seen Kiss Me or Kiss Me Again. But I don't believe you have to watch them in order to watch Dark Blue Kiss, because I got the storyline. I didn't have any questions or lost points, and I started from episode 1 of Dark Blue Kiss.
Right.
And something that I hope that the two of us will be reviewing in July, because I just found out about it like in the last couple of days. There is a show called Life Shinjo no Bokura, which is a Japanese boys' love based on a manga. And I'm going to read the translation to you, or the translated description of what the show is about to you, and then I'm going to tell you why I think that we need to watch this.
Okay.
The serious Ito and the childlike Nishi met by chance during a single-player game of the White Line game on the way home from school. Falling in love, Ito gets frustrated over the fact that they only get to rendezvous on the White Line and suddenly kisses Nishi. From high school, college, and then to adulthood, a deeply moving work depicting the lives of two men who are madly in love with unchanging feelings within changing realities. This is going to be on Viki. The reason why we're watching this is because one of the actors in the show, not a main, but one of the actors in the show, is Song Wayne.
Wayne from...
Yes.
That Wayne?
Houting. I waited until we did this to tell you.
First of all, I love the premise of that it's they're together, they love each other, it's just the world kind of throws life at them. I love that. Love that. And Wayne. Oh my God. Oh. Where's my Maker Days Count photo book? It's over here somewhere. Put it away. Yeah, I did.
So if you can't tell from Mason's reaction, Wayne is one of our favorite people in all of Boys Love ever.
I love him. He was so good in Make Our Days Count. He was such, I can't, this is the best thing I've heard today. Sam, I'm so, oh my God. I love him. And I have a weird connection to him. I posted like on Instagram, I was like, I really loved the show. It was really good and I cried a lot. And a friend of mine from school was like, oh, Wayne? I went to college with that guy. he's a really nice person. And I was like, the face crack. Like, the world is so small. It's such a small world, everyone. I am 1 degree of separation from speaking to him. So,
If he ever comes to visit, oh my gosh.
But he's terrific. He's terrific.
He's wonderful. He's wonderful. If you've never watched History 3 Making Our Days Count, what the fuck are you waiting for? It is the only reason to buy a Viki Pass. It is literally the only reason.
Wait, but you said this was a Japanese show, so is he going to speak?
It is. Okay, so Viki plays shows from Korea, China, Taiwan, and occasionally Japan. Right. And they have 1 BL on Viki right now. They have Mood Indigo and The Pornographer on Viki right now. Mm-hmm. This show is going to premiere and post in real time on Viki starting June the 19th and running through July the 10th.
Oh.
And I will send you the link to the manga because I have that. It's online. You could read it all the way through if you want to.
Yes, please let me read that.
Yeah. But yeah, when I found out about this, I actually found out quite by accident. I was looking up different actors for some reason, and I ended up on my drama list, and I saw that Wayne had an upcoming drama. And I'm like, okay, well, what's this about? And that's how this came about. But yeah, we love all of the lead actors from Make Our Days Count, and Wayne is particularly special to the both of us.
Wait, but that still doesn't answer my question of, is this in Japanese or Chinese? Because
it's Japanese. It is a Japanese show. Ito Nishi, it's a Japanese show. I'm not sure how the fuck Wayne is involved in this. I really don't. I've even watched the trailer, and I don't see Wayne, but they only showed the lead people. But Wayne is confirmed to be a cast member for this show.
Well, okay.
So, I mean, a job is a job.
Yeah. Awesome. Oh my God. I can't, I'm surprised you kept that in and didn't tell me.
Every once in a while, I try to give you presents, and this was one of them.
Because trust me, when something happens in, like, the Boys Love community, we are on Twitter like, did you see what happened?
Yeah, this was definitely one that I had to sit on my hands to hold this, but I knew we could not end today without me telling you. So yeah, everybody look forward to that show coming on Viki soon. YYY ends next week. It actually ends on Tuesday?
Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah, it ends on Tuesday. So that will be what next week's show will be about. The week after that, like we said, Dark Blue Kiss. And then we're not sure where we're going from there. Quarantine, COVID has stopped a lot of production in Thailand. So a lot of things that would currently be airing or in the midst of an airing are not happening. There's been a restriction against being able to film kisses and fights because of social distancing. Right. So because of that, we don't know where things are going to go, how soon it'll be before we have a brand new show, but there are a lot of shows we have not talked about that we have watched. And so definitely we'll still be trying to keep weekly as much as we can, but we might have to go in the archives instead of doing brand new stuff.
Yeah, we're going to have to dig into the archives because there was an anime Boys Love movie that I was wanting to do, but it got pushed back because of the pandemic. So I was like, would have been a good one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we've been toying with like Together With Me and Waterboy too. So I could see that being after Dark Lucas, one of those.
Yeah, Waterboy the series is one of the ones we talked about. We talked about Together With Me. We haven't ever talked about some of the gay shows like that are not Boys Love but are like grown men. Yeah. Like today I sent you a link to Bangkok G Story, and there's Bangkok Bangkok. There is Diary of Tootsies.
We should do I feel like we have to do Diary of Tootsies, at least maybe the movie, for Pride Month. I feel like we need some like femme representation for Pride Month.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that we've got in the can just waiting to be talked about. But we promise that even if there's nothing new airing, we got a lot of stuff we can talk about in between shows. So don't you worry.
All right. Well, I think that just about wraps things up. I hope people watched MyEngineer. I hope you enjoyed our talk today. Because
Thank you for sitting for the 2 hours.
did we talk for 2 hours?
Just about.
Oh my god. I don't even know what to say to that. Well, sorry about it. Again, we don't edit, so we can't edit out all of the on my end. Oh well.
You're fabulous. I like watching it. I watch all of our shows, so don't worry about it.
One of them. The sound of my voice makes me want to jump out of a window. So. I'm sorry to you all that have to hear it. I sympathize. Yeah. All right. Well, have a great week. Bye, everyone. Stop recording.